points for every person that subscribes.
Right? I should. All right, let's look at number 11. Which linear equation in two variables has a graph that passes through those 2 points? You have 2 points. So what can we find from 2 points? Slope. So your formula chart, which you will have for your test, gives you your slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So write down the formula. Your answer choices, this one's written in y equals mx plus b. This one's in standard form. That's in that point slope form, y minus y1, and so is that one. So these we can kind of narrow down based on the slope. So let's label our points x1, y1, x2, y2. And then we'll plug them in. So y2, 13, minus y1, negative 5, over x2, minus x1. Great thing is we have a calculator. We can have the calculator do the hard work for us. So put your fraction in the calculator. So we have negative 9 over 5. So our slope is negative 9 over 5. So let's look at our answer choices. The slope is on A, 9 over 2. Is that right? The next one, how can we find the slope? Yeah. So let's solve. We need to get to say y equals. Yep. Can't combine these because one's at x and one's not. So it's negative 9x plus 2. Then divide by 5 all the way through. I'm going to leave these as fractions. So this one has the correct slope. So I'm going to leave it there because it might be the answer. Not sure yet. All I'm doing is checking slope. On C, the slope is right before the parentheses because this is in that y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. I don't have to solve it because my m is 9 over 2. Is that right? Nope. The next one. Is that right? Nope. So the only possible answer is this. That makes me really nervous, though, because most of them had 9 over 2. So that makes me nervous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this equation into y equals and then check the table to see if these 2 points are on there. So you should do this with me. Everybody should have a calculator in front of you. Plugging this in. Put a bag on it. Yes. Underneath. There should be a calculator somewhere around. Look for one. Are there any extra calculators at any desk? There you go. Put it into y equals. I'm feeling a lot of emotions right now. So when you put it in, then you look at your table. And I want to, my window's set up or my table set. So your table set might be like this. So I need to change mine. So I'm going to hit second window. And I'm just going to start it at 0. I had changed it earlier. Now go back to the table. And we're looking for these 2 points. 3 matching with -5. And it's there. And then -7 matching with 13. It's almost that's my birthday. 7/13. And it's there. So that means that we did it right. So it's really important to check your work in the calculator because this is going to ensure that you get it right. Don't be lazy, because if you're lazy and you get it wrong and you don't check it, you're still going to have to redo it because you're going to do corrections. So just go ahead and check all your answers in the calculator now so you don't miss the problem and then have to redo it later. All right, so we did number 11. What other questions y'all want me to work out? Okay. 13. Several students performed an experiment by dropping marbles that are uniform in size into a jar partially filled with water. They measure the height of the water in the jar after every 5 marbles. The results are shown in the table. So we have number of marbles, X, height of the water in inches, Y. That H of X, remember, or W of X, that's like your function notation. It just means Y. So put a Y out to the side. Don't get confused just because it says a function of X, which is like W of X. Which function represents the same relationship? So all of these are really like Y equals. So don't let that W of X confuse you. Which function represents the same relationship? So they have these all written as Y equals mx plus b. Can you tell what's the same on all of these answers? The 5, which is the b, the y-intercept, which comes from this. This is your b. Remember, when x is 0, what is y? So all of them have that in common. What do they have different?
The slope.
The slope. How do you find slope from a table? So write that down. So we need to find the change of y over change of x. So change of y is the y value. So going from 5 to 5.5. How much did that change? Yep. We really only need to do one pair because we know that this is linear because it's in that y equals mx plus b. So we don't worry about doing all the pairs. Just do one pair. Okay, what about change of x? How much did that increase by? And they're both positive. So put that out to the side. That's change of x. So we'll put change of y, 0.5, over change in x, 5. What do I do now? I need to simplify or just divide this. Yeah. 0.5 divided by 5. That's going to give you your slope. Do it. So 0.5 is your slope. So what's our answer?
Oh, I said C. Are you like?
I didn't hear you. Yeah, I didn't hear you. So 0.5 is correct and it is C. Yeah.
Can you do number 15?
Okay, number 15. Do y'all remember that word directly or that phrase directly proportional?
Yeah.
What are we going to set up? A
Plus B.
proportion, yeah. Proportion would be like y over x equals y over x. So this is what we already have, and it says, what is the value of y when x equals 70? Set up a proportion just like that. Plug in your numbers. Go ahead and do it.
And then cross multiply.
Yep.
Wait. Oh.
Hopefully you had time to do that. So whenever I did my y over x, my y is 35, my x is 140. I don't know what y is, but I know x is 70. So now I cross multiply and divide. 35 times 70, and then divide by 140. Okay, 17.5 is what you should have gotten. So we're going to write y equals 17.5.
How did you get 17? Mine just was 175.
You did it wrong.
Did you divide by 140?
Oh, why did you divide by 140?
Because you multiply the ones that are there, the two numbers that are there that are diagonals, and then you divide by the other number. Or what you could do is look at 140 and 70.
I just divided 35 by 2.
Yeah, that was my next way of doing it. If you look at 140 and 70, they're across from each other. The operation to get from this one to this one is divide by 2. So you do the same thing on the top to get to that number. 35 divided by 2 is 17.5. So 16 is also a problem that you set up proportions. Because it has that phrase again, directly proportional. So set up a proportion. But instead of y over x, you're going to use like words. So it gives us 12 amps, 480 volts. So you can do amps over volts equals amps over volts. Plug in the numbers and then cross multiply and divide or find the common multiple to find the next number. Okay, what other problems do y'all want me to do?
We did 16, correct? Yeah.
Wait, nobody got 34?
What, 720?
Do what?
So, can we go over number 6?
So weird. Can we do a graph together?
Yeah.
I do not understand.
On 6, you're looking at the rate and the starting amount. So you're going to write it as mx plus b. So I'm not going to do that one.
Because I try to do it. I'm very confused. I I even wrote a question mark by it.
Verse 6. Okay, let's look at it. I'm going to read it. Researchers in Antarctica discovered a warm sea current under a glacier that is causing the glacier to melt. The ice shelf of the glacier had a thickness of approximately 450 meters when it was first discovered. The thickness of the ice shelf is decreasing at a rate of 0.06 meters per day, which function can be used to find the thickness of the ice shelf in meters X days since the discovery. So important things would be it's melting, right? So what's happening to that thickness? It's decreasing, exactly. So it's at or was at 450, and it's decreasing at a rate of 0.06 per day.
Obviously. I say what it is.
Well, we need to know, like, because we're doing rates and starting amounts. So M is your rate, and B is your whatever it starts with. So the starting thickness was at 450. And then the rate is decreasing at an average rate. See how it says that keyword rate?
Yeah.
Of 0.06 per day. So is the thickness getting more or less? So how do we represent that? No.
You would multiply it. Negative.
Yep, a negative.
So it'd be G.
What's wrong with G though? Do we normally do it like that? No, because this isn't being multiplied by X and 450. This is only being multiplied by X.
How would we?
So we would put negative 0.06X plus the 450.
Is there gonna be like question like this? I don't understand.
But which was one that could, so I know this isn't right because my rate is positive. This one is also a positive rate and it's being multiplied. This one's being multiplied by both.
I would get the. I don't understand
Aren't-
how you got that n equals the like. How do I know that n equals the rate? Because how it's well, I would get that wrong because m comes before like and y equals mx plus b. I wouldn't write it like that. I would put the 0.06x before.
Yeah, but knowing that you can reverse these
So it's
and put
okay.
negative 0.6X plus 450, knowing that you can reverse addition as long as you take the sign with it.
So we can flop it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, you can flop them. And the reason they did that is because you start with 450 and then you subtract 0.06 per day. But these mean the same thing. Do y'all want to do 10 or 12?
Both.
Nope, one or the other.
Both.
10.
Oh, yeah.
10.
Or 5.
10. Actually, yeah, 10.
All right, let's look at 10. Which of the following equations represents the graph? So we have these written in all the different forms. So we might have more than one answer. Well, we're going to have more than one of the 1 through 4. So we need to know what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. Yep. Y-intercept is -2. So we have that at least. Now we need to find the slope. So we need to rise over run. So we need 2 perfect points. We have 1.
Let me do 3.
Yep.
Here,
3, 0, yeah. So count rise over run.
rise 2, run 3.
Yep. And it's a positive slope, right? It's going uphill. Think back to slope, dude. If it was going downhill, it'd be negative. So we can write this as mx plus b. M, which is 2/3 x plus b, or just minus 2. So this is the equation that matches this. To make sure we did it right, we can use our calculator. So let's put that in. And an easy way to check is just look at the graph. Put it into y equals, look at the graph, and we just need to make sure that it's the same. It goes through 2 on the y-axis, it goes through 3 on the x-axis. So it's correct. So now we need to see, out of these 4, which 2 have the same equation. So let's look at I. Y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. Is that correct? Why? What's wrong with it? Is our slope negative? No. Mark it out. So look at your answer choices. Which answer choices can we mark out since we know I is not right? There you go. Okay, so we're just left with F and H. To make our life a little easier, they both have 2. So do we need to worry about 2? We know 2 is probably going to be, well, it is. So now we just need to check either 3 or 4. 3. What can we do with 3 to see if it's the same line? What do we have at our disposal?
Table.
Calculator.
Calculator. Calculator. So go to y equals. Let's put that in and see if it graphs it. I'm going to clear out what's already in there and only put in this. X minus 2. Oh, I got to put parentheses around that. And then x minus 3. That seems different than what we've ever done before. So I have a feeling that's not it. But when you graph it, what does it look like? Is that anything we've done so far this year? No.
That's not it.
No. This is a U. It's supposed to be a straight line. So we know that's not it. So what's our answer? Yep.
Is that right?
Use your answer choices to help you. Use your calculator to help you. If you use your answer choices to narrow down the answers and then use your calculator, you'll be able to get the answer, even without knowing exactly how to do the problem. It's due tomorrow. No, Thursday. It's due Thursday.